Hello, class.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another
RV newbie class.
RV newbie class. As usual, Mercedes has worked a month on this, and she's got spreadsheets and docs and all kinds of things.
We have a very exciting syllabus.
And so if you haven't done so yet, you're going to want to go and download the guide that she's put together. I think it's way overdone, but you certainly won't miss anything.
Exactly. Wouldn't you rather be over prepared and be crystal clear than to have the opposite?
Yeah, we got a very special show for you guys today. We're going to go through Mercedes tips for buying an RV.
Yeah.
And we also know that this is where most people make the biggest error. They haven't done the proper research. They haven't done the work ahead of time, so that when they go to buy an RV, they know exactly the RV that they want. Mm-hmm. Too many times, salespeople's job is to sell you an RV. Yes. There's only about 10% of RV sales guys that actually know about RVing. But and we have a guest today.
I was going to say you're missing the most important part.
We have a guest today, Matt from Matt's RV Reviews, probably one of the most popular RV review guys. And
okay, the only salesperson that I would trust, the only RV salesperson that gets it and that shoots straight and that calls the balls and strikes.
Yep.
You know, the creator of the prime poop position, the only salesperson that will climb on top of the RV. You can call him, you can text him, you can email him, you can FaceTime him. He understands the RVs that are America.
Yeah, and he is a busy man, but we're excited to introduce Matt. We have no idea how this is going to go because we've never done this before.
What's going on? How's it going?
It's going good. How you doing?
Good. Hi, America.
America.
Hey, I do want to give a shout out to Josh from Josh the RV Nerd. He also gets it. But between me and him, and then there's everybody else.
Exactly.
There's two acceptable RV sales.
Yes. Josh is a good guy and a good friend of mine, and he helps push me, and I push him, and we elevate each other's YouTube channels to try to make them better.
Yep. Hey,
I love that.
Matt, would you agree that the biggest mistake most buyers make is they haven't done the proper research?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a big thing. Like, the worst thing being an RV salesperson is when somebody buys an RV and they want to trade it in 6 months later, and you have to tell them how big of a depreciation hit they took, either because they didn't do their research the right way and find the right RV for them, or because the salesperson didn't do their job the right way and put them in the right RV that hit their needs.
Right.
So that's always a tough conversation to have.
Yeah, and the salesman's job is to sell RVs, right?
Yep.
And so if you, I call it the lion's den, guys. If you walk into an RV dealership or a home show and you're considering the RV lifestyle and you haven't done the proper research, you are a target, because they make these things so beautiful. I mean, they sell you the dream.
Yeah.
And too many people bite in, make an emotional decision about buying an RV before they've done the proper research.
Well, and actually that leads in perfectly to the first section of the checklist, people.
Okay, let me go to the checklist.
It's all about determining your needs. And actually, I think you're good on the checklist. Let's bring Matt back.
Bring Matt back.
Yeah, Matt's more important than the checklist.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay.
No, there's the checklist.
Can you,
I'm going to let go of the controls.
I know. It's sorry, Matt. It's really hard to share a mouse with your spouse. But as far as the checklist goes, the first section of which, or maybe we should do it like this. Oh, this is so functional. Much better. Okay. I made a whole checklist on determining your needs, because I think there's a lot of misgivings on what you need versus what you want, and getting real honest about how you're going to use your RV, because the longer you're in the RV, the less you can tolerate discomfort. So if you're going to be in a 10-foot travel trailer, full-time RVing with a family of 6, no, what I mean? If it's a weekend warrior thing,
might be perfect. Yep.
Exactly. And that's what I love about RVs. John, you're 100% right that there's a lot of RV salespeople, which, They make the industry look bad. They're in the RV life right now. They'll be in the car industry. They'll be in the boat industry. They'll be in the solar industry. No disrespect, but they're industry hoppers. And then there's people like me, people like Josh, people like a lot of my colleagues, and a lot of my competitor colleagues that are in the RV lifestyle. And they like to prefer to themselves as like the RV matchmaker. Because you guys have a sandpiper, and as great as that is, that might not be the right unit for the next customer, or it might be the perfect unit. And it's all about taking the wants and the needs and how you plan on using it to try to solve the puzzle of what's going to be the best RV for you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I love that. And I think the other piece that when you say how you're going to use it, a couple things that I don't think people spend enough time on is how long are your trips going to be? How far are you traveling? How many are you really sleeping? Like, yeah, you could sleep like 17 people, but how comfortable is that really?
Yeah. Do you have a dog? Do you have a cat? Do you have a Great Dane? Do you have a poodle?
Yeah. What kind of dog? Yeah, a Great Dane versus a Chihuahua.
Right.
Because we have a 6-year-old and a dog named Skippy, and a van was small for us. Now, it would have been great for weekend trips, maybe
Before
on the
the
far end,
kiddo.
5 to 7 days, but it was just way too small for us. The
John,
longer
a Class
RV,
B is never going to work for anybody. I do not like Class Bs, and America knows I don't like Class Bs.
Class B, and you need to have an extremely strong relationship with your lover.
Oh yeah.
In a Class B.
I mean, this is beyond prime poop position. This is like all the poop everywhere because you can smell it. It's such a small space. We talk about poop a lot as RVers. We got to stop that. But I digress. So how many RV salesmen would you really say, and I think this is important, what percentage would you say really actually RV? Or have RV'd before?
I just dropped it. So that's a great question. And it's an interesting answer over the last couple years. So, I would say it used to be about 25% used to RV themselves, right? So as RV sales used to be a very seasonal job. Up north, you had the winter where you're not really selling RVs, and down south you had the summer when you weren't really selling RVs. And so as RV salespeople, we used to be able to take the used ones out whenever. And, it was part of the rules. Like, hey, I grew up in Maryland in RV sales. And so in the wintertime, all the salespeople would take out RVs, and your job was to get poop on your feet, get some black water, have your RV get broken down on the side of the road. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Live the RV lifestyle so you can relate more to your customers. And I was talking about this earlier with somebody else. Over the past 2 years, all these newer RV salespeople that come in to no fault of their own,
they just need a job.
They haven't had that opportunity because there hasn't been a down season in 2 years since COVID. Right. It's been balls to the wall. It's been nonstop. And even if they did have the leisure time, there's no used units out there for anybody to take. Excuse me. RV salespeople, we've always lied to customers, I said, as in, oh, well, if you don't buy this unit today, somebody's going to buy it tomorrow, right? For the last 40 years. But only for the last 2 years that's actually been true,
Yeah, no, it's funny. And as from a salesperson perspective, what would you say is the most annoying thing that an RV buyer does, from the salesperson perspective?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be all like, perfect or whatever, but there isn't really anything that's too annoying.
Probably just they're uneducated, correct? The ones that just aren't sure, just come in to peek.
No, I wouldn't even say that. Like, I really wish I had a better answer for you, and I'm really trying to think about it. Okay. But okay, here's the annoying one for me.
Okay.
And it comes back to Class Bs, right? I'm a portly guy. I'm chubby, I'm fat, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of times there's a lot of people who are like 6'4" or extremely overweight or mobily not super mobile, and they want a B van. And I'm like, guys, you know, I'm in my 30s and I couldn't stand a B van. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's just like, or here's the most annoying part. They want a certain type of RV for the wrong type of reason. So
that's good.
Right. So like a lot of people, they will aim towards B vans and they're like, well, I just want to be able to keep it in my driveway. I don't want to have to store an RV. And it's like, buddy, you have a family of 5, right? Like I promise you, the amount of families of 5 that want a 17-foot B van, it's just like, guys, what are you doing? Like, don't you love your family?
You better love your family.
like Andre and I, we literally just got a Class C motorhome, 32-foot Class C motorhome.
Nice.
And we went camping for the first time over the weekend, and it was the 4 of us, her 2 daughters, and our dog. And I'm all like, oh man, this is way too small. And that's a 32-footer, let alone, you know, a Class B motorhome.
Mm-hmm.
I love that perspective, because one of the things in the downloads that you'll notice is that the needs list is short, the wants list is long, and the non-negotiable list is short too. And the reason I gave you very few areas to write down needs and more areas to write down wants is because, in my opinion, if you want 17 different things that are non-negotiable, I mean, this is a compromising type. When you buy an RV, you have to compromise somewhere. You have to give and take. So being really clear on what the deal breakers are is so important. But one of the things I did write on the deal breaker list was visible signs of water damage or mold.
Right. But to go back to what you were just talking about, there is no such thing as the perfect RV for anybody. It's a give and take.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have 13 linear feet of counter space because you love to cook in the kitchen and a huge bathroom and a big master bedroom
and
enough place to seat 6 or 7 people comfortably in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I will disagree, though. There is the perfect RV out there for somebody, but it will be 2 or 3 or 4 times your budget. So then you have to give and take. You know,
interesting.
For $1 million, John, we'll make you the perfect RV. Right?
Yeah, those double deckers that actually go up. Have you seen those?
Yeah,
like Will Smith's old motorhome.
Yeah, there's a disco up on top and a hot tub.
Yeah, we're in the wrong business. We need to become country superstars, and then we can afford that. Well, okay. So I want you to start thinking about other types of stories. Back when there used to be used RVs in the market, I'm curious as far as any warning signs that you would notice, because we just passed a travel trailer that was how big was it? It was like 20 feet.
Yeah. And
they wanted $30,000 for it, and the exterior looked a little rough.
Right, and the inside stunk. It was horrible. Yeah.
And so it was like, you know, but they'll probably get it because people are desperate. You know, if somebody's like desperate for.
Well, it's supply and demand right now. A lot of people will settle because they're so excited to jump into that RV lifestyle. Well, it's full-time, part-time. They want to get an RV and they're willing to pay more. And there's not enough product to sell. And so that's why what you were talking about, you know, buy today or it's gone tomorrow days, it has been true for the last 2 years. It's just completely true. And these salesmen don't care if you buy it now. They know it's going to sell quickly.
Yeah, that's a big deal too, is that gone are the days where you could really hardball and you could really pit salespeople against each other, in the sense that, like, you know, the shopping days and the consumer having that leverage. I think it's such a psychological process, as far as like when something's running out, even if you just, I don't know, every fiber of my being wants to grab something before it runs out. Right.
Now, we full-time RV for years, and we're in the market for a new RV.
Inside baseball. Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anyone.
Hey, I know a good salesman.
No, this is selfish. This video is selfish because I want to pick his brain about this.
Right. So we're looking to buy an RV. We know, in our opinion, because we are in the RV industry, we know what we want. We've had enough experience to check all the boxes. It's just a horrible time to buy right now.
Yeah.
As far as what we're going to pay for the RV of our dreams. It took us 2 years to figure out the first RV we had wasn't working for us, but it worked at first. And then we got another RV that worked for a year, and now that's not working for us. And a lot of people say there's usually it takes 2 or 3 RVs until you find the perfect RV for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how us RV salespeople stay in business. We make good RVs and not great RVs. So you always want to trade in.
Yeah, that's so true. How often would you say people buy the wrong RV their first RV purchase?
So I'll answer that 2 ways. I'd say about 30% of people would buy the wrong RV the first time. And those are the people that want to trade in 6 months or a year later. But at the same time, the average person owns 5 RVs in their lifetime because, yes, what was perfect for you in the beginning, people's lives change. Their wants and their needs change. For example, you guys, families get bigger, families get smaller.
They grow taller.
You're more stationary at some points, so you rather have that 5th wheel. And then, like Less Junk, More Journey, they just bought a small Class C motorhome because they're going to be coming and going. Exactly, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But they're still keeping their 5th wheel for once they are, in Florida for 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So again, everybody's lifestyle is always changing, and their wants and needs are changing as well.
Interesting. Now, here's one thing that people make a big mistake. They buy on price and not from the right dealership. Not on service. And we've got a friend of ours, Mark, he's been one of our most helpful RV Odd Squad members at the park. The guy's been here for 7 weeks. He's helping us do everything to get this park open. Mark bought an RV and it's been in service for 10 months.
Yeah.
And he actually had to go out and buy another RV while that one was getting fixed because he was just tired of waiting.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was quicker to buy another RV.
And sometimes it's better to spend $3,000 or $4,000 more, but to go through a family-owned or a small mom and pop company that is going to service your RV.
Right.
And then the other problem is right now with the supply chain being so messed up, they struggle with finding the right parts to fix these RVs right now.
Yep.
So that's why we think it's such a tough time to do it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So RV service has always been taboo. You know what I'm saying? I've worked for the small mom and pops. I've worked for the big guys. Boys. You know what I'm saying? And it's always been an issue. And, it's like, I don't know how to solve that issue because you're right. I mean, like 10 months is just way too long for issues to be going on. But to a lot of people, the unit being in service for 1 month is way too long.
I was just going to say that full-time RVers,
right?
If that's their home. What do? You better find a service department that's going to put you up while they fix your RV.
Right. It's really, really tough. And then so the service people are blaming the manufacturers. The manufacturers are blaming what's called the OEMs. The OEMs are blaming the cargo ships. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just like it's always been tough. And here's what I do know: I've worked for the smallest dealerships that people have never heard of, and I've worked for the biggest dealerships nationwide. And the one thing I can say is they all have service issues, even today. So that's always tough.
I appreciate that perspective because as much as we know all the stuff about the RV industry, I go on Facebook and I start looking online and I just really want to buy something. I do. Sight unseen. I want to make all the mistakes of things that I know better. So one of the things on the checklist is what to bring when RV shopping and what not to bring. And you're going to laugh at me, but the first thing I wrote in what to bring are snacks. Because for me, I make poor decisions when I'm hangry or hypoglycemic.
Yep. Hangry. I call it fatabetes. So when we're filming, I always tell Will or Andrea, hey, my fatabetes is kicking in and I need to eat something because the next video isn't going to be too happy.
Yeah. And it's like, it drains me. And this is something that, the one thing I said not to bring was the checkbook, especially if you're early. And the other thing that I think people do, like, you know how when you're shopping for a house, it's really rude to lay down on the bed and sit on their couch because you're just like looking at the house. But in the RV, you need to, like, the way you sit on the toilet, I think that gives people permission to step in the shower and do the elbows.
Make sure you have the elbow.
You have to.
You have to. Yep.
You know, try out those chairs because they long term, are they going to be comfortable or not? Those recliners, some of them are junk and some of them are really great, you know?
Right. Yeah. So to answer that, yeah, I 100% recommend bringing food, but I would add to that, not just on shopping day, but on pickup day as well. Ooh. So many people, and this used to frustrate me about, you know, when I was a salesperson, the delivery coordinators used to tell people, yeah, it should be about 2 hours for your walkthrough and orientation and paperwork. And it's like, yeah, 2 hours if it goes smoothly, but it never goes smoothly. And so you're going to be there for 4, 5, 6 hours on pickup day because the guy didn't check everything and you're going to discover something that's wrong. And so always bring food. Like whenever you're headed to the dealership, just bring food with you.
It's true.
That's totally one. And then with the checkbook, you know, I am a salesperson, so I always say bring the checkbook. The checkbook is important if you are farther in the research stage.
Yes.
And you do plan on buying.
Yeah.
But if it is a pure research stage, then yeah, don't bring the checkbook.
Yep, that's what we tell people. Leave the checkbook at home while you're in your research stage, and don't bring it until you pick the unit you want and find the dealership that has it, that's going to service it probably better than anyone else, which is a tough game to play.
Well,
and then something else that I would add is if you're like, don't start looking at used at all unless you're ready to buy right there and then.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like when people come to the dealership and they're 6 months out, 8 months out, 12 months out, and they're looking at used, it's like, guys, this used unit won't be here in 6 months or 12 months.
All right.
Whereas if you guys are looking at a sandpiper and you're looking to buy in 6 months, there's still that sandpiper might be gone, but they can always get another sandpiper. Whereas that 2011 Winnebago won't be there.
Yeah. Here's the big mistakes we made. We found the right RV. We did the proper research, but as soon as that RV popped up at a dealership 3 hours from us,
all common sense,
where it was Camping World. That was our biggest mistake. We went to Camping World, and what you said is so true. We went ahead and we were just so in love, and this is the unit we want to go. We want to start RVing right away. That we jumped a lot of steps. And one of the biggest steps we messed up on is it took them 5 hours to check us out, like you were saying, at pickup day. Yeah. And here's the problem. I had a list of 12 things that I found wrong with the RV, and they talked me into taking it, right? And then bringing it back. And right then I should have said, no, fix all these items before I pick it up.
Because at that point, you know, once you put some money into an investment, it's harder to let the investment go.
You want to drive home.
Yeah. And so we had put that time. So it was harder to say, oh, those 3 hours were a waste. Let's just, you know, and then to add on to that, I remember in our situation, the guy, he was late to do the walkthrough with us. And as we finally get him and he's doing the walkthrough, he's getting calls about the next one's ready. And so I couldn't agree with you more. And I completely forgot the walkthrough experience. I completely forgot about that. And that's the other thing too. Like nowadays we have a flashlight and a camera and we can record things. But what I did was I printed off the floor plan. You know how you always show the floor plans on your videos? So then I could write specific notes to that. because there's just a lot of things that you don't think about, and then when you're back at home and you don't have the RV, you get all excited.
Yep.
And you start doing all the planning.
Yeah. Mercedes had the whole thing. She had measurements of every single space in the RV, in the kitchen, so that she knew, could start planning on where everything was going to go,
where to put the pots and pans.
Yeah, she was thorough there. But again, our two biggest mistakes is we bought from the wrong company and we didn't properly do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
We should have walked away right then.
Yeah.
Right. And then to add one more thing to the walkthrough, if you have the ability to pick it up during the weekdays, pick it up during the weekdays. Everybody wants to pick up on Saturday.
Great tip.
They'll only have 2 or 3 walkthrough techs, and those 2 or 3 walkthrough techs are going to have 12 deliveries. Especially if it's towards the end of the month, right? How these dealerships get paid is they get paid based off the month, right? So there's people picking up their RV today. Literally, today is April 30th.
Last day of the month.
And if their unit isn't perfect, dealerships nationwide, and I'm not saying good dealerships or bad dealerships, but dealerships won't let them leave without signing the paperwork today because it's last day of the month.
Right.
They will push and push and push to make sure that you take the RV today no matter what. Whereas if you were to pick it up last Saturday, the 23rd, they might be more lenient to, okay, well, we'll get these things fixed. You can pick it up Monday. Or, again, the best thing to always do is to try to pick it up Monday through Friday.
I love that tip.
That's a great tip. Fantastic. Yep. I never even considered that.
Yeah, because I remember they did ask us, hey, do you guys mind signing on the 31st? And
that's how they get paid. And it's like we can hate them for doing that, but let's also, it's business. It's nature. It's human nature,
Their job is to move RVs. That's how everybody gets paid, is to move RVs. Our job is to do the proper research. To make sure that we know that we're going to be happy with the purchase, and also understand that as soon as you drive away, the depreciation drops by 25%.
Yes. Well, so I want to go on record real quick because I was on record about 2 years ago on Izzy and MJ's channel on Endless RVing. And I told everybody they were missing out on deals of a lifetime. And this was right when COVID happened. And everybody who took my advice, they're not taking a depreciation hit. They're actually making money.
They went up in value.
Yeah. But I want to go on record again. I think the RV market's starting to correct itself. And all these outrageous prices, and I know we'll get into prices a little bit later, but I feel like they're going to start to level out over the next 4 to 6 months.
Yep.
I just want to say that on camera on the 28-minute mark of the video.
Yep, we're with you. And we watch analytics on other YouTube channels and see what's going on. And you can see it's falling off a little bit.
People are Googling
all the big
less.
boys. Yeah, it's not getting as many searches.
And it's
You're starting to see more and more RVs on the sales lot, right, at the dealerships. And what's going to happen is there's probably going to be a glut, right? It's already started, but I believe there's going to be a glut that's going to come in the next 6 months where it really tanks. And people that bought on emotion are going to want to move that RV. They're going to want to sell it. And that's when it flips over and flips upside down. And there's going to be more opportunities to buy. We're kind of counting on that for our RV. We're looking at 3 to 6 months before we purchase an RV because we want to see it tail off a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And then, so I see there being a glut on towables. I don't see that happening on motorhomes. The only reason why is the savior for motorhomes is they can't get enough chassis.
Interesting.
But we'll see.
Interesting.
Well, because the way our needs have changed is that I almost wish that we had gotten our first RV second and our second RV first.
Of course, yeah.
Knowing what I know now. But now that our kid's bigger, she just needs more room in that bunkhouse. And and to be really frank, as when I first got into RVing, I thought that I was going to turn into a scratch baker. One of the pamphlets had one of those. What are those things that shake the food not the food processor?
Oh, the mixer.
It had those ginormous mixers that you
in the kitchen.
in the kitchen of the RV. And I saw that, and I said to myself, I'm going to start cooking healthier.
I'm gonna bake bread in Yosemite.
Yeah.
Or Yellowstone.
I'm gonna be a scratch cook, and I'm gonna be so healthy, and and it was not that case. And then our second RV has this gorgeous kitchen, but I'm not a good cook.
Right.
Like
I've lost 60 pounds since we've started RVing. So
right.
Yeah, if you want to lose weight, let me cook for you.
Oh, and then also we were talking about a minute ago the depreciation factor. And what I always like to tell customers is especially if their budget's $100,000, right? Obviously we got to be respectful of your budget. We don't want to spend $150,000. But if your budget's $100,000 and the perfect RV is 110 or even 120, you really need to spend the money and get the one that's right for you.
Bite the bullet.
You're 100% right. When you drive off the lot, you're losing 25, 30%. But you're only taking that depreciation hit if you're trying to trade in your RV. Where if you're not trying to trade in your RV for the next year or two, there's no depreciation hit because you're keeping the RV that you have.
Yeah. We have a 2020 Sandpiper, and it's actually we could sell it right now for just as much as we purchased it for.
They've got more.
Right, 2 years ago. And a lot of people are finding until there's too many of them,
Yep.
One of the things that we tell our people when they're buying an RV is always put at least 15% down and never finance it for 20 years. Do you agree?
No, not the finance for 20-year part. I know a lot of people that finance it for 20 years. So first and foremost, never take financial advice from me. Okay. I always like to tell people that.
The disclaimer.
But I have some very wealthy customers. Guy's name's Paul. I won't say his last name, but come to find out, Paul was a multi $100 million, right? Maybe 50 million. Who knows after you hit a certain level. One, you can never tell, and a lot of you guys probably ran into him at the campsite, and you'll never know, right?
Right.
Give me a quick second. I'm trying to be on live. Sorry.
I can so relate to that.
So Paul has a ton of money, and when I discovered this, I'm like, Paul, he had a $200,000 motorhome. I'm like, Paul, didn't you finance your motorhome? And he said, yeah, OPM. He said, use other people's money.
Yep.
Because he invests lots of money, and he'll make higher than what the interest rate is. You know what I'm saying?
Money's cheap.
So if you're in that lifestyle of investing $50, $100, $1 million, right? If you're an investor and you know how to make your money work for you,
right,
then yes, finance the longest term, pay a stupid low interest rate, and make money. Whereas if you're financing it for 20 years because you can only afford the $800 a month, then that's how people get in trouble.
I agree 100%.
That was a really good
That's
caveat.
a great caveat, because we financed for 20 years, and early on we thought we made a big mistake, but then our RV turned into a business because our YouTube channel took off. So it's actually not a bad thing that we have a 20-year loan for us.
You could depreciate it.
Exactly, especially because we've got such a low interest rate because money is cheap. So that's a great point. It's just like anything else. It's going to be different for everybody. Just depends on which financial position you're in.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's funny because it kind of goes the same way for like extended warranties. Like everybody always asks about extended warranties, right? And people are like, oh, extended warranties are so expensive, I can't afford it. And it's funny because it's the opposite way. If you could write a check for $5,000 for the extended warranty like it's nothing, you probably don't need the extended warranty. because you could pay for any expense, right? Like you could stroke a check for $5,000 and you'll never know it, right?
Yep, you're willing to assume the risk.
Right. Whereas the person who says, oh man, I can't afford an extra $5,000 for the extended warranty, you are the person that needs that extended warranty, because when something does go wrong, it's nice just to pay the deductible. So one thing that I say, I always get the extended warranties, especially with our lifestyle. When we, not so much anymore, but when we were in sales, if we had an issue with our vehicles in spring or summer, we could drop $1,000, $2,000 on a repair.
Right.
In wintertime, we are eating ramen noodles. So, we could barely afford the deductible. That's why we would always get the extended warranties.
Yeah. And I agree with everything that you just said, except that one of the things that drives us crazy, we bought the extended warranties.
But we
thought it was good, but we financed it over the 20 years.
And it only
so we had a
3 years.
3-year warranty, a 4-year warranty, and a 7-year warranty on different items that was financed for 20 years, which is insane.
That's America, baby. That's America.
Yeah. Now our financing was like 3%. It was crazy low. Money was cheap, and that's why we did it. The other side of that, though, is that we put our RV into Camping World 2 different times for 2 weeks each, and nothing ever got repaired. We actually got it back with more damage each time we did. So we started saying to ourselves, the warranty is useless if you can't get the service.
Because they were at the bottom of the totem pole. And I do like your perspective on if you could write a $5,000 check at the drop of a hat, then maybe you don't need an extended warranty. You can just assume that
the risk
yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I also think that that's the sad part about what's happening to the RV industry. And I'm going to kind of get on my soapbox here, and I might make people mad. Sorry, but it's almost like they're squeezing out the family, the blue-collared worker that works with their hands, that that earns an honest, good living, paycheck to paycheck. That just wants to spend some time with their family while the kids are still young, and just go camping and enjoy the great outdoors. And between the fuel prices and the this and the this, and that doesn't even include all of the safety gear you got to buy when you RV. And it's like we're squeezing out the good old middle America.
Yeah, but that's not just in the RV space. That's America in general is getting squeezed. It's the ones in the middle that are getting crushed right now. Yep. It's not the ones at the top. They can afford $100 a gallon gas.
Yeah,
they don't really care. It's not going to affect their lifestyle. It's those in the middle. And the working class has been decimated in the last 2 years in this country.
Well, especially
don't get me on my soapbox.
No. Here we go now.
You're not allowed to get on your soapbox. You get on your soapbox too much.
Yeah.
But the gas prices, okay. The way I see the gas prices is that I think more families are going to have to do the road trips in the station wagon style as opposed to the RV style. And that's where I'm talking about the squeezing out the middle guy. Where do you see the gas prices? Because which is more expensive, a towable or a motorhome with the gas?
What's he going to know about gas?
No.
He's an RV sales guy.
No, I'm trying to talk.
What do you think about oil futures, Matt?
Stop it. No, I'm talking about the future of the industry. So this is how the game is laid out. These are the cards on the table. What's the next steps?
Yeah, so I know how to answer that because I do have an opinion about it.
Yes.
And truthfully, I don't like to talk about my opinions on a lot of matters, but I will because of this. Truthfully, not in a mean way, but anybody who says like, oh man, I have to cancel all my summer vacations because gas is now $4 a gallon opposed to $3 a gallon, they're not doing the math in their head the right way. So it's like high gas prices to me will hurt you, yes, when it comes to your daily commuter, right? You're commuting daily from like here to your job. I have a truck that gets 12 miles a gallon, and I feel it because now it costs me more to get to work.
Right.
But as far as the RV, people aren't putting 1,000 miles every 2 weeks on their RV.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The people that are they're taking a huge hit.
Yeah.
But I have to talk for the masses. Most people are doing their 6 trips a year. And so a lot of people are saying, man, it's now costing me $100 to fill up my truck. And it's just like they have that $100 in their head. And it's like, well, hang on a second. It's always costed you $75 to fill up your truck, period. So it's not costing you $100 to fill up your truck. It's costing you $25 more to fill up your truck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, it's like I hate saying this, but the people that are complaining about the $4, like, oh man, I got to cancel all my trips. It's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have the $800 monthly payment on the motorhome on top of that. Or it's kind of like they're thinking of the glass as half empty. And it's like, maybe you got to think of it as half full. It's like, maybe instead of driving from Maryland to Florida, maybe go to Myrtle Beach this year. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe not go as far. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe that's me being optimistic instead of the other one.
Yeah. And I don't blame it just on gas. It's not just gas that's gone up. It's food. It's everything. And that is what's squeezing people.
Yep. And it definitely hurts. But again, I feel like for the majority of people, they, RV is for recreational use. And so the 9 miles a gallon that you're getting in a motorhome or with a truck tow and a fifth wheel, that is only for once you're using it recreationally. Now, the people who are full-time that are putting lots and lots of miles on it, that's the one that it's hurting a lot more.
Right. But what's interesting about that is that can be adjusted in your budget. So maybe you travel every week to the next stop or 2 weeks. What you do instead of every 2 days, you slow down the trip because you're going to be paying for camping fees anyways. So spread each stop to 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. And that fixes most of that.
And the big secret here that we're not talking about that we need to uncover that makes what you just said make sense is that the vast majority of RVers are weekend warriors. And the trips are between 2 and 4 trips a year. 6 trips a year is a lot. Even weekends only. 6 trips a year is a lot. Most people they plan to, they intend to, but really, how do you really RV? Some people don't RV that much. So if you're talking about a weekend trip, you can't go across the country in a weekend. So obviously you're going to be more regional or within your state or within your area.
Zones.
Your zone. So that's, I hear what you're saying as far as that zone person. It's the zipping across the country that is going to be impacted more. And I like what you said about slowing it down.
Yeah, gas prices aren't going to stop us from RVing. It's just an adjustment in our budget and how we move. That's it. That's it.
Interesting.
Make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button.
Well, and this is why, I love the fact that you're not agreeing with everything that we think. Because you're presenting an idea that's, okay, well, I think this way, but here's why. And it's like, there is no perfect, this is the one and all strategy for everyone to buy an RV. And this is the one and all RV for everyone to buy the specific RV. It really is personal and it really depends on your lifestyle. And your life is going to change as the kids grow, as they leave, as they do this and that.
So Matt, I've taken the time and I've done my research on buying an RV. I've gone to some home shows. I left my checkbook at home. I got in there. I sat in the toilet. I got in the shower. I know the rig I want. I'm dialed in on it. How do I choose my dealership? Because some people think that they have to stay close to home, right, to buy the RV. And with RVing, you do not have to do that. We think it's really important to pick the right dealership and the right person to buy it from. And don't think too much about how far away this dealership is, because it could be fun going to pick up your new RV 1,500 miles away and driving it back.
What are your thoughts on that?
Right. Yeah. So, that's always a difficult one because it depends on who you are. I've been on the side in Maryland. Hey, buy from us. We're your local dealership. We're going to be the ones to service you and fix up your problems and everything. And then I'm also the guy who's currently now pitching, hey, doesn't matter where you live. We have one of our dealership partners that's close to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it really just depends on who you are, where you live. And I hate saying it, but it depends on who you are and how you live. You know, if you live, you know, let me use Maryland. If you live 10 minutes away from Leo's Vacation Center, the dealership that I used to work at, and they have the exact unit you want, and you know Greg, the owner, and you've had amazing luck with their service department, then yeah, spend a little bit more money and buy it from Leo's Vacation Center. You know what I'm saying? And because you know them and you know that they're going to take care of you. Whereas if you live next to dealership X, Y, and Z, and you know they have a horrible service department, it doesn't matter if they're Camping World or mom and pop shop, they have a horrible service department. So then you take your search elsewhere. You know, but then here's the next question. It's like, when does, you know, buying local just become too extreme?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if buying local is going to cost you $20,000 more on a $90,000 camper, is that worth staying local? You know, to sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. So that's such a hard question to answer. And it's just like, you know, RV service is always going to kind of suck, to be honest with you. So it's like, it's really, really tough. You know,
it's not getting any better soon. And what's really interesting is the number one question that we get from over 100,000 comments below in our videos is, where should I go to buy my RV? And the truth is, Mercedes and I have never suggested anyone.
We just can't, because
Matt's RV reviews.
Yeah. Well, no. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing, because I know that you've worked for the big guys, the small guys. I saw that you got the new motorhome. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
That was really cool. And you got it through RV1. I noticed that your shirt color has changed. You know, you're not wearing the red shirt no more.
Right,
so
right.
What's going on
So
there?
we get an RV Odd Squad member that reaches out and says, you know, hey, and we say, well, go to Matt. Matt will watch out for you. What is their experience going to look like, and why should we send them to Matt?
Yeah, so we're still working on that, truthfully. Our process with so we partnered with RV Retailer now. So and there was nothing wrong with General RV. So let me just back up all in all. We were with Leo's Vacation Center when we lived in Maryland. Our channel grew and we moved down to General RV. That's how we met and everything. And then we wanted to grow our channel even more. So we went independent and we wanted to work with General RV, Grizzeni's, RV1, all these dealerships. And I wanted to stay in the Tampa area. Well, that didn't work because not all the dealerships wanted to work with us. So the RV industry, they feel like everybody's like a spy and they all have like proprietary information or whatever. And it's all like, dude, I just want to stay in Tampa and do reviews. So we were forced to travel more, and we were forced to start an actual business. And once you have business and you have employees and you have insurance and you have lawyers, next thing you know, all our money went away, which sucked.
Yeah.
And so then we were doing a good job with RV1, who's a part of RV Retailer. And then they offered to pay us, which we needed the money. And so then we did the partnership with them.
Nice.
And so now we're with RV Retailer, and they own 95 dealerships nationwide. Motorhome Specialist, RV1, Tom's Camperland, Blue Dog RV, just all these dealerships, and we're currently with them. So how it works now is when somebody's interested in an RV, they go to mattsrvreviews.com, fill out the contact form, and we'll hook them up with their closest dealership in the RVR family to try to pair them with the right places. Truthfully, right now it's not going smooth. We have a lot, you know, it's tough. Like with RVR, they're having a hard time connecting the people to the right places. And so like somebody lives in Tampa and they're interested in a Grand Design and they get matched with RV1 of Tampa And it's like, well, RV1 of Tampa doesn't sell Grand Design.
Right.
They sell Jayco. And so now that salesperson's trying to sell them a Jayco. And it's like, well, no, they want a Grand Design. And so that we're working through. And I think it's okay that we're working through that. What I always tell people is my email is matt@mattsrvreviews.com. Send me an email. I know all the dealerships in our group. And if you ever have any issues like that, I'll connect you to the right, for example, RV1 of Fort Myers, and it's just with them, it's so big. And what they didn't realize is with the Matt's RV Reviews group or power, that we're not a slow start. Like when we merge, it's like, bam,
ready. Yes.
Your 10,000 leads coming your way.
Yep.
And so it's just we're working through that, and nothing's perfect. And I've had customers complain to me about it, and I'll call them up and apologize, and it's just growing pains. It's growing pains. But everybody can always reach out to me. I had one customer who was looking for an alliance, and this was just 2 days ago, and they were on the Alliance Facebook group, and they were complaining about our process going through our website. And so I reached out to them, and they told me what was going on. And then I connected them with Explorer RV, who is in Texas. They're in Texas, and it all worked out great. And I believe they're buying an RV from them now. But a lot of it's just growing pains. And just knowing that, hey, we're only Matt from Matt's RV Reviews. And so it's always tough. But if somebody ever sends me an email, matt@mattsrvreviews.com,
we'll help them work through it.
I'll be able to. Yep, exactly.
We went through this exact same problem when we did RVOddSquadInsurance.com. We hooked up with somebody that signed an exclusivity agreement with us, and we did a video, and they were buried.
Yep.
Right. And suddenly, right. People don't realize the power that influencers have. And Mercedes and I are very, very careful about who we suggest as a partner.
Or even mention.
They have to basically, they got to have a great product. They have to have great service, and they need to stand behind their product no matter what. They will replace it if we give them the recommendation. And those are the type of relationships we've set up. And this worked great. And all of a sudden, this small insurance company that had never done RV insurance started having 4 people working for them. I mean, just to keep up with the load. And they wanted us to do more videos and do more videos and do more videos. Right. And then, now we're at a place where I don't know how many hundreds of RV Odd Squad members have gone through this.
Yeah.
But now this person doesn't want exclusivity anymore. He wants to go out to other people because he sees the niche.
But they can't handle it. And that's the thing that what you
So now because they're going to another big influencer, they're going to get flooded. And then our people, the RV Odd Squad, steps behind them.
Well, and and what you just said, people didn't account for the weight of what you saying, hey guys, check this out.
Yeah, the trust that you built.
And you built that trust over a long period of time, over a lot of videos, so many hours, and so much time investing, not just in creating the video, but in creating the relationships with your people. They are your people.
Yeah.
And they don't appreciate that when any influencer, like when you throw your weight someplace, we can really throw.
Well, especially about guys like you. One of the reasons we believe you've been so successful, Matt, is you're so honest.
Yeah.
You're just
sometimes too honest.
Yes. And
that's okay.
And we are too.
Yeah.
We are too. Sometimes people say we say too much. We don't need to know what you're thinking all the time, John and Mercedes. But we do it. But what's happened is you fall in love with your audience. Yep. Those are the people who lift you up. You wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here without the RV Odd Squad. Yeah. And the bigger our community gets, the more loving, that we fall in love with these guys. We basically got a $2 million campground in Ider, Alabama that we built with the RV Odd Squad.
Yeah.
And we're building an amazing group. These memberships that we do here at Thunder Canyon now, it's a membership campground. And the only way that you can come camp at this gorgeous, gorgeous place is to buy one of our passes. But it's a product that we control.
Yeah.
So we can take care of those customers. We're working through the bugs.
Yeah.
It's hard for us to have the power. I don't know how you're going to herd those cats. And it blew me away that you'll actually do FaceTimes with people when you do sales, because I don't know how you do it, Matt.
I know.
I don't know how you do it. You don't have any time.
Well, yeah. So, warning: if you FaceTime me, that's on you. And wherever I am and whatever I'm doing, that's how I'm answering it. You know what I'm saying? I've answered.
Oh, no.
I've been on the throne before, and I'll answer a FaceTime. You know, that's what you sign up for when you FaceTime me.
That's realness. That
Yes.
is realness. Absolutely love it.
Well, and I think, the Art Deco, your Art Deco club, like, how we all have our goofy names for our people and like the goofy things that you do in all the videos, you're the creator of the prime poop position.
Yes, thank you. That's what I'll be known for. Yes.
Exactly. But let us know how we can help. And frankly, I would, I'm like, let's buy an RV through Matt. Let's go.
Yeah. We'll talk more.
Well, yeah. And what I always tell people is, obviously, I would love if you guys bought an RV through us, but it also needs to make sense for you. I have plenty of friends that dealership X, Y, and Z had a better deal or a better price by like significant money. And they're all like, no, Matt, we'll still buy from you. And I'm like, hey, if I was selling cheeseburgers, you better buy my cheeseburger.
Right.
But if they're $5,000-$10,000 cheaper, I mean, yeah, buy from them. It's no hard feelings. I mean, it's a big purchase and it's a lot of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. No, we love the idea of having somebody it would be fantastic to have a place to send all the people, the RV Odd Squad members who ask, where do we go?
Yeah.
We'd love to send them to one place and say, hey, but also be honest with them. They're building this right now and they're working out a lot of bugs, and you have no idea how many leads, how many people are interested right now. So don't get mad at us and don't get mad at Matt. We're doing the very best we can and we'll never do anything to hurt you.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
I had an idea because, this is my top secret idea on how to get an RV at a good price. Okay. Don't tell anyone.
Okay.
But I was thinking that if I were to look, how different states have their average income, and different states have like where they are as far as income level and so forth. So like, for example, in California and New York versus, different states that have a smaller average income. So I was thinking if we bought the RV through states that were on the lower income scale, that, had a lower cost of living, that we might be able to get a better price on an RV based on what state we bought it at. What are your thoughts on that?
Interesting concept. So the answer is no. Like, that's not quite how it works. But it does kind of work in the negative way. Like California. Mm-hmm. Don't buy an RV in California.
Never. Don't buy anything in California.
Right. Yeah. I mean, California's been at MSRP before the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just always so crazy high. And, we could talk for hours on that, but just don't buy an RV in California.
Yep.
Just know that you're going to pay top dollar.
Yep.
But the same's with Alaska. Alaska, you pay MSRP. But other than that, truthfully, if the best price is important to you, there's 4 places. There's Indiana, Ohio, Texas, and Florida.
Indiana, Texas, and Florida. Why?
If the best places or the cheapest prices, those dealerships in those areas are always going to give you the best prices. They sell the most. They get the most from the manufacturers. They get the biggest rebates from the manufacturers. And they have to be the most competitive. You know what I'm saying?
That's a piece of gold. Yeah, that is golden information. Yep.
Like that's just the way it is. Part of the reason why I moved to Tampa is because you have Lazy Days, Grisenni's, RV1 in general.
Yeah.
And
monsters.
All monsters. And not only are they all monsters in their own ways, like those dealerships, like I've worked for them. I work with them. They don't care about Leo's Vacation Center in Maryland. They care about that I-4 corridor, right?
Yep.
And they know nobody's going to General without going to Lazy Days, without going to Camping World right there. I forgot Camping World in that mix.
Yep.
Without going, like, they're all next to each other. And so they're all super duper competitive with their pricing. And not only that, it's like, it's weird because now that I work with RVR, they have different dealerships in their network. In some dealerships, they get one of that year, make, and model per year, right?
Wow.
And yet then they'll have other ones like RV1 of Tampa, where they'll sell 15 of that one model per year. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And obviously you're going to get a better deal at RV1 of Tampa because they're selling 15 of that exact unit.
Right.
You know? So it's
Makes
like
sense.
supply and demand and market and competitiveness. Like there's all these different factors that, you know, help people get the better price.
I just thought of something that maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, which means I should totally say this out loud.
Oh, yeah.
So when we bought our first RV, I don't know if you remember, you know how you have the paperwork and all the manuals and stuff? They actually had the sales receipt from the dealership to manufacturer to dealership.
Oh,
so
that's
without
right.
saying the price, we saw how much the dealer paid for that RV, like the behind the scenes price.
The markup. Yep.
And I was disgusted. I was like,
people don't realize that these distributors, they're squeezed, and the difference. The manufacturers are so squeezed to pump these things out on, you know, and keep up with the demand. It blows my mind, and people don't realize that if you spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a 42-foot fifth wheel, it's going to have some quality issues, and be ready to take care of those quality issues. If you want to step up into the next level of 150, like a Riverstone, right? The build on it is so much better. You really, truly do get what you pay for.
Yeah.
People buy something cheap and they expect it not to break and to be, you know, the highest quality materials, and it's not. So it really does govern it. And people also think that these manufacturers are making a killing on these when the markup isn't so great, you know, from what they built it for.
Right. Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, I'm really good friends with the Bradys who own Alliance, right? And you know, we know what they cost, and you know, talking to them, it's like, I know how much it cost them to build it, and it's just like, you're telling me you're operating off that much of a margin,
right?
And you have 300 employees. Like if you knew Alliance's payroll every week, it's like it would make you sick.
Yep.
And it's just like, how are you surviving off that little bit of margin?
Yep.
And it's not even that. It's like, and they put a warranty on it for a year. So every time the microwave goes out or the refrigerator, and it's just like, you just see that number going down, down, and down. Like everybody always asks, Matt, would I ever own my own RV dealership? This, that, and another, right? The one thing I probably would in the future. The one thing I would never, ever do, I would never become an RV manufacturer.
Oh, it's too brutal. It's brutal. Yeah.
It's absolutely insane how much money that they really don't make.
Yep.
For what they're pumping out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, their margins are 5-6%, you know?
Yeah. And it's just like, it's really, like, that's scary.
Yes.
And even the RV dealer, like, don't get me wrong, for the past 2 years, RV dealerships have been, you know, making a killing. You know what I'm saying?
Good years.
Yeah. But before that, like, you know, on a $100,000 motorhome, dealerships are profiting $5,000 or $10,000, which sounds like a ton of money.
Right.
But when you have these mega centers and insurance and workman's comp and this person and that person and all this thing, that money goes down big time, you know?
Yep.
Which is why, another secret here, a lot of the money is made in the financing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we don't talk about that. You know, there was a time where buying something outright in cash, like, made gave your offer
Cash
more
is king.
sway. Cash is king. But in a certain dealership's perspective, cash hurts because
Every
they only
dealership,
have 5K
yeah.
on that.
They don't want the
sale.
cash.
They-
Yeah.
Nope,
they'd rather
this ain't the
find-
wild, wild west anymore.
Nope, exactly. Will it be forever? No, but that's where it is right now. Yep. They don't want the cash. They want to finance it. They make a few extra bucks in the back end.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, 100%. And here's what's crazy about it though, right? It's like, you know, I would always tell my customers to finance. Not only that, I would tell them to use our banks, but I would tell them to shop around. So here's what's absolutely crazy. Not only do our banks as an RV dealership banks, not only are we making money off that loan, we get you a better rate than what your bank would have given you, which
Right.
doesn't make any sense, right? Like our bank, we could give you a 4.99 and hold percentage points on that. So the dealership's making money, but yet if you go out to try to get your own interest rate,
It's gonna
you're
be
getting
6.
a 5.99. And
Yep.
so finance in an RV world is beautiful because not only is the dealership truly getting you a better rate, they're also making money on that as well. And again, OPM, other people's money. And with all these loans, they're all simple interest with no prepayment penalties. So you can pay off the loan whenever.
That's important, the no prepayment penalties. But no, it's just, I think if a consumer knew what the dealership really wants, what really incentivizes a dealership, I think it would help them be more educated as far as, you know, when I go in and I say, oh, I don't need financing, I'm cash, like you're not really, they might be saying, oh, darn it, I don't get this bonus.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? It's not.
And I think the one thing that breaks my heart more than anything else, because we are YouTubers and we've had hundreds of thousands of comments and we get all these emails from people, we get a pulse, is those people that buy into the dream, the full-time dream. That's been going on for 3 or 4 years now. The YouTube channels that just make it look like a dream. It's magical.
So wonderful.
Yeah. And we've seen the stories of people that can't afford this lifestyle,
Yeah.
dump everything and jump into it. You know,
Right.
and those are the ones that break our hearts. We've seen hundreds of families do that.
I'll
And,
just start a YouTube channel. It'll be
and
so easy.
it's not easy. It's very, very difficult.
It's
Yep.
hard.
Yep.
How hard is it to do a YouTube channel, Matt? Is this not the hardest thing you've ever done?
I mean, I was a plumber's apprentice, and that was pretty hard.
You didn't bite your fingernails, did you?
Right. But no, I mean it's not as hard for me as it is for you guys. I do the same thing over and over again, and it is pretty difficult. So I sympathize for you and all the other RV creators who literally have to come up with a new theme,
Every
new
week.
topic every week. I mean, that's just hard. That's just very hard. Mine's easy. I do RV reviews with my wife, and with Will, and so
And there's hundreds of models every year.
yep.
Yep.
So
That's true.
I sympathize for you guys.
Hmm.
So
Well-
can I answer one question though in the comments?
Yes.
Somebody says no sales tax in New Hampshire, Oregon, Montana, Alaska, Delaware. So that's not true when it comes to RV sales, or like what they're trying to say is you pay sales tax for where you're registering it. So even though Delaware doesn't have sales tax, well, one, Delaware does have sales tax on vehicle purchases, or RV purchases anyway. But if you live in Florida, you're paying Florida sales tax. Doesn't matter where you bought it from.
Right. You want to
Unless
go
you register it unless you like the illegal way to do it is to open up an LLC in Montana and then
Right.
register it in Montana.
Right.
I never recommend that because, in my opinion, you're hopping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
And technically, it is illegal, right?
Right.
But the only time that is advantageous of somebody is when they are spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $1 million.
Right.
And that 6%
Is
isn't
big.
pennies anymore.
Yeah. 60K. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah, because one of our questions, somebody said, like, any hints on the Super Cs? And it's like, you know, That's for Nan. Well, the Super C's, the price points, they're kind of high. So that couple percentage here and there.
Yeah, and we love the Freightliner chassis.
Hell yeah, America.
That's what we want, something really beefy and beastie.
Yeah. We're getting a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to group them.
Yeah, do you mind answering some questions with us?
Whatever, man. I'm an open book.
Okay, I feel bad because it's already been an hour, so it's like.
Oh, I got all the time in the world.
Oh, careful.
Our people do too. No. Well, so the general theme I'm getting in a lot of these questions are like the used versus new. I love the tip that you gave about don't shop for used RVs unless you're really ready to execute, because it won't be there, later on. But as far as how long should you keep an RV before you trade it? If you bought it new and you're already looking at something else, is there a certain amount of time you should keep it so you don't lose the depreciation or you don't lose your socks?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that because it's one of those things where, you're going to take a depreciation hit, right? And it's just like that. There's no right answer because it's all like, oh, well, I'm not going to trade it in right now because I'm going to take such a big depreciation hit. I'll trade it in 2 years. And it's like, well, here's what's going to happen in 2 years. RVs are going to be 20% more in 2 years.
Right.
And your unit's going to be worth 20% less than what it is today.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's such a hard answer. I mean, if you don't like your RV enough where you're not using it, trade it in right away and just buy the one that's right for you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But that's one opinion. Don't listen to that opinion. And that truly is an opinion-based opinion.
Yep. Well, we're actually blessed because our sandpiper, our FOK, we love it. It's beautiful. Big kitchen. What we're doing is we're going to be using that in Thunder Canyon Campground, and we're going to lease that out. About 35% of our audience, people that watch us, don't RV.
Yes.
But they're interested in an RVing. And so we found that they'll be able to fly into Thunder Canyon, stay in our RV, the one that we tooled around for a couple of years.
Or do the road trip here.
Or do the road trip here and give them a chance to feel the RV lifestyle. And we're actually hoping to build a bit of a business here at Thunder Canyon that people will come in to learn how to do it, do some classes here about buying, about how to flush a black tank properly, about how not to get poop on your hands. And
Right. Well, no, that made me think, right? You should do something where, the RV isn't set up for them.
Right.
So when they get there, they have to hook up the water. They have to hook up the black tank. And they have to hook up everything.
Nice.
You know what we should do? We should charge more for that.
So the true.
If you want your RV to be set up, that's
charge them $100 to set up. Yeah.
For the setup experience.
Right. That'd be funny.
Yeah. But one of the things we'd love to do is we'd love to have Matt's RV reviews come down and visit us at Thunder Canyon and do a live with you down here.
I would have to come up there. Yes. And I totally will.
And you got an RV now. Yeah.
You got an RV now.
You got an RV now, man. So you don't have any. I think you're 8.5 hours away.
Yeah.
Here we go now. How close to you is Red Bay, Alabama?
That's about, I think, 5 hours, 5.5 hours.
Alabama is a surprisingly big state.
It's tall. It doesn't have a lot of
It's
ocean front. And I know where you're talking. Red Bay's beautiful. But we're up in the northeast corner of Alabama. We're only about 10 miles from the Georgia line.
Yeah.
But it's crazy to us because Alabama is so beautiful. They got these gorges that are hundreds of feet deep with
people don't know how pretty
boulders the size of skyscrapers and beautiful waterfalls. We think it's a nice little secret. Everybody that has come to Thunder Canyon and camped here, they can't wait to come back. Or they extend their trip by 2 or 3 or 4 days because they don't want to leave.
Can I just say, and another question, totally non sequitur. I think you guys gave me your ADD.
What does sequitur mean? Do you know what?
Hey, Mercedes, you said me and John wouldn't be able to stay on topic.
I know. And now I'm the one
she's off topic.
No, because you're getting some MSRP questions. So I remember the days when MSRP was like a joke. That
was 20% higher.
Well, it's like me saying this pen MSRP is $1,000, but I'll give it to you for 50 cents. Well, now MSRP kind of means something.
I got to go take care of our daughter. Hopefully, the
Yeah.
toilet's not
So, MSRP has always meant something, right? Because it was always the guideline of discount. So there was a day back in the day, 25, 30% off MSRP, 35% off MSRP. I sold RVs at losses for 40% off MSRP, right?
Losses.
No, like real losses.
Real losses. Okay.
No, real losses. Because they
just to move the inventory.
Move the inventory, and they'll make the money on financing, right? But those days are long gone. I mean, we're now at 10%, 15% off MSRP now. You're looking at an Airstream, you're paying MSRP. Like it's kind of crazy. And all that comes down to is supply and demand.
Yep.
And again, in my opinion, in 6 months, it will level out. Truthfully, I don't see a crash. I just see a level out of back to normal 25% off MSRPs, 30% off MSRPs, stuff like that.
We hope you're right because we are.
I hope I'm right.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. As like a salesperson, it's like a lot of these salespeople, they love hitting these grand slams of commissions.
Yeah.
But it also does suck to know that, hey, when that customer's ready to trade in,
they can't.
Right. They're going to be taking a pretty big hit,
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because, like, again, everybody needs to think of people in different perspectives, right? So when my next door neighbor sells their house for $500,000, knowing that they paid $250,000 for it 3 years ago,
right?
Everybody congratulates them. Hey, congratulations, right?
What about the cool poor guy that bought it?
Right. But yet when an RV salesperson or a car salesperson is able to sell a vehicle for a profit now because of supply and demand, they're an asshole, right? So like, oh, that scumbag, that scumbag Matt. It's just like, right? And it's just like, but truthfully, the RV salespeople aren't selling it for MSRP or 10% off because they want to. It's literally because they have to.
That's the market.
They can't get it's the market. They can't get a replacement.
Yep.
So always think about that,
Yeah, it's always a balance.
No, I really like that. And so how you seem to have this thing with like Class Bs. I kind of have a thing with the Airstreams because from a storage perspective,
like a Harley Davidson.
No, but it makes no sense. Like it looks okay. Number one, keeping that like not stained is insane. But then from the storage perspective, having round storage is not effective. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like
yeah, no, I don't get the Airstreams either.
It's
and so it's kind of like we almost touched on this subject about quality, right? Mm-hmm. So many people talk about quality and how RVs kind of suck, right? Well, how much was your fifth wheel? What was it? 60, 70,000?
Yeah. Well, we got it. Yeah. 60, 70,000 was our fifth wheel. Yeah.
If your fifth wheel, if that size of a unit was, quote, built like an Airstream, it would cost $300,000.
I agree 100% because we love the Riverstone. We love Forest River.
Yeah.
We love
Riverstones. Sheesh.
Yes. Yes.
So
and we've got somebody.
Not to plug. Tune in the Matt's RV Reviews Towables. I think starting next week, we went up to Georgia and we reviewed 4 Riverstones.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Aren't they awesome?
We went to the factory and watching them build them.
The factory is totally different.
Yeah, to give you an idea, Sandpipers are pumped out about 17 a day.
Yeah.
The Riverstones are about 1.5 per day, and they're all done. The facilities is completely different. It's the production rate is slower. The materials are so much better.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you have the money and you really want a full-time RV, you've got to go to the next level to have a good, have it properly.
The quality.
The quality is so important if you're going to be beating it up.
Yeah.
Right. And so like even a Riverstone isn't to the quality level of an Airstream. Like truthfully, like what an Airstream is, again, if it was fifth wheel, it'd be $300,000. But let me tell you something. we've been waiting years to properly review Riverstone. And that's why we made a trip to Midstate RV in Georgia just to hit Riverstone. And let me tell you something. The Riverstone Legacies, for how much they cost, I actually find them pretty cheap for the value that you're getting.
The wall.
Agree 100%. Yep.
Like when you look at that compared to a DRV or a Landmark,
or
it's
a
just like,
suite.
dude, yeah, mobile suites, like it's not even close.
It's not even close.
Like
it's the
the
best
Riverstone.
value.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Riverstone is the best value in its class, hands down, not even close.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I'm posting on you to check out Matt's RV reviews on all the socials, but also Janny did post your towable channel in the comments too for the Riverstone specifically.
Yep.
I have so much I want to say to you, and I am so excited. What?
Oh, I'm waiting to hear what you're so excited about.
No, I think we've answered most of the questions in a general sense.
Okay.
Because I think we've combined them, and some of the questions are repeats that they didn't hear the first few minutes.
Okay.
So they have to watch this again.
Yeah, guys, if you have any questions, you asked them earlier and you haven't watched the whole video, go back to the beginning. We're not going to answer the same question twice.
Notes.
Yep.
No. But Matt, if there's anything we can ever do for you, please let us know. Not that you need it. Oh, make sure everyone go and subscribe to his channel.
Yeah, Matt is the most honest man in his space for reviewing. He tells you the top 3 things he likes and the top 3 things he doesn't like about every RV that he does. He's fun to watch. He's got a great sense of humor.
And he's just himself.
He's just himself. He is who he is. And we love that about Matt. And Matt, we want to thank you so much for taking the time on a Saturday to meet with us in the RV Odd Squad and kind of give us your thoughts on what's going on in the RV industry.
Yeah, because you've educated me.
Yeah, we've learned a lot here. And we thought we knew everything.
Well,
I mean, is there any more questions or are you kicking me off now?
No, I think it's time. I think it's time because the questions we've already addressed so many of them, and so everyone is just giving you lots of praise in the comments.
Yeah, you're getting lots of love.
You're getting lots of love.
Yep.
And I'm just so grateful,
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. And if anybody who's ever watching, if you guys need any help, again, we're going through growing pains.
Yep.
But you can always send me an email, matt@mattsrvreviews.com. That's my direct email. And again, kind of like what John said, we will never be perfect, but we're always looking to grow. And the one thing we will always do as the Matt's RV Reviews crew and team is we're always out to try our best.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
And we're doing the same thing on this end. Mercedes and I believe in some things that aren't too popular within social media. We talk about God, family, and country.
Well,
we're proud of it, right? And I can't shut my mouth up. I mean, we've taken a big, big hit, but what it's doing is it's making our community a lot stronger. So we don't sell to the masses anymore. We just basically talk about what we believe and share our experiences with everybody. And we've attracted unbelievably beautiful people within the RV Odd Squad who are they always want to give. They're kind, they're considerate, they love giving.
Yeah.
If you're new and you follow Matt and you haven't seen our channel before, check us out, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, hit the notifications. You may not like some of the things we say or do, but you'll always know what we're thinking and what we're doing.
Absolutely. And if you've already bought your RV, you should still subscribe to Matt's channel so you can watch all the other RVs without spending the money on all of them.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you can shop them.
So thanks, Matt. We appreciate it again for Saturday. And Mercedes said it, anything we can ever do for you, just let us know. We are going to repurpose this and make a real video that's very helpful and a little bit more concise and succinct.
Yeah.
And it may even be for tomorrow's video. We don't know yet because we haven't started tomorrow's video. So we have a lot of work to do. But thanks again for helping us out, Matt.
Thanks so much, y'all.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.